I was sitting at a camp just like this. I was in the 10th grade, and Tom Chittenton walked up to me. Tom's a great guy, had a deep voice, sounded like the Lord, kind of. He said, Cam, have you ever thought about going in the ministry? And I said, no, absolutely not. Nobody in my family's ever been in the ministry. I'm going to be a lawyer, man. I like that BMW. I'm going to be a lawyer, bro. He said, have you ever prayed about it? I said, no. I mean, I made a whole plan for my whole life and never prayed about it one time. He said, would you pray about it? I'm like, okay. And I started praying in church camp, and I prayed till the following Easter. And the following Easter, God made crystal clear to me that his plan was not for me to be a lawyer, but to go into ministry. And everything that has happened in my life since that time is because Tom Chittenton reached out to me and asked me an annoying question that started a year of prayer in my life. He was a gutsy guy. Gutsy guy. And the truth is, you guys have been studying a gutsy guy for the last 3 or 4 days. His name is Elijah. And man, I love Elijah. Elijah is one of the epic heroes of the Old Testament. He's one of my favorite men in the Old Testament. Gutsy guy. I mean, he actually, took on hundreds of prophets of Baal, prevailed. I have actually taken hundreds of Compassion Christians to Mount Carmel in Israel, where that battle took place. The image is going to come up right now. What you're looking at is the Valley of Armageddon. You ever heard that word before? Sometimes it's called the Valley of Jezreel. Sometimes it's called Megiddo. That is the Valley of Armageddon. You can see it. That picture was taken from the top of Mount Carmel, where Elijah had the big pray-off with 400 prophets of Baal, and this is what it looks like from the top. This is actually a statue that's been erected on the top of Mount Carmel, and I show you these pics just to remind you that Elijah was a real guy, and Mount Carmel is a real place, and this story really happened, and friends, God used Elijah to make a real difference in our world in some amazing ways, and he used Elijah for a couple reasons. Number one, Elijah was one of these guys who just lived wide open for God every single day. He took no spiritual days off. He didn't have any blackout spots on his calendar. He didn't have any, leaving your faith behind because you're surrounded by false prophets, or you're at football or cheerleading camp, or you're out on a date. No. Man, Elijah's love for God was legit, and it affected everything about his life. Even when he got discouraged, even when his heart was broken, like you studied yesterday, even in the lowest moments of his life, somehow his heart remained open to God. Consequently, when he got stuck, he didn't stay stuck. Because when he heard from the Lord, he was willing to obey. And friends, that positioned him to be used by God in life-changing ways. And let me just say this. If your heart is open and if you are willing to obey, God will use you in life-changing ways as well. And I want to show you one example from the Bible. This is in 1 Kings chapter 19. If you got your Bible, man, open it up, 1 Kings 19. Marcus preached on this yesterday. We're going to look at verses 19 to 21. And we're going to show you a story where literally you could be just like Elijah. Look at verse 19. It says, so Elijah, now Elijah, that name Elijah means, my God is Yahweh, which is the personal name of God. Elijah went and found Elisha. Now, Elisha's name means, my God is salvation. So Elijah went to find Elisha, the son of Shaphat, plowing in a field. Now, if you know this story from yesterday, Elijah had been hunkered down in a cave on Mount Horeb for 40 days because he had just worn himself out. He was so down, he was so depleted after this battle with the prophets of Baal, but eventually he rested up, he fueled up, he got refreshed, he heard from God in a powerful way, and then he left that cave on purpose, with a purpose, exactly the way I hope you're going to leave this camp. Fueled up, pumped up, powered up. Leave this place on purpose, with a purpose, and the purpose Elijah had was to reach out to his one. And his one was a guy named Elisha. Now, every believer is supposed to have a one. That's that one person in your life that God can use you to bring to him. Maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a classmate, maybe it's a teammate, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a neighbor, somebody that you are uniquely positioned to reach for Christ. And man, if you don't, maybe nobody will. How many of y'all know Grant Roscoviak? Let me hear you if you know Grant Roscoviak. I love Grant, man. I've known Grant since he's about that long. You know, I'm telling you, he's the pastor of our downtown campus. He first started to come to our church when he was in high school. Grant did not grow up in a Christian home, and when he came to our church for the first time, he was far, far, far from God. But I'll tell you what he did have. He had some Christian friends, and he was their one. He was close to my son Garrett. They were classmates. He played football with my son Harrison. He played football with Patrick Knorr, who goes to our Midway campus down south. So he had some Christian friends who were all talking with him about the Lord, all inviting him to come to student ministry here at our church. And then his sister got really close to one of our students named Crystal Fritz. Now, Grant rode with Crystal and his sister Emily to church one night. And on the way home, you know, Emily was Crystal's one. And so on the way home, Crystal starts talking with Emily about the Lord, and guess what happened? Nothing. Nothing. I mean, it just bounced off of her. I mean, Crystal is sharing as hard as she can go, and Emily's like, whatever. I mean, she just nothing. And that's okay. Because the first time you share Christ with somebody, a lot of times that's the response you'll get. Nothing. Sometimes the seed hits hard ground and bounces off. Sometimes the seed hits and it takes a while before it starts to grow. Crystal is patient. Emily's okay. You know, this is a process. It's going to take some time. But Grant is sitting in the back seat of the car, listening the whole time while Crystal is trying to share Christ with his sister. And when his sister turned Crystal down, Grant said, hey, do you think I could give my life to Christ tonight? And Crystal's like, grr! She pulls the car off into the Kmart parking lot, turns around, prays with that brother. He asked Christ to be the Lord of his life. Grant got saved by the ricochet of the gospel. It was aimed at his sister, bounced off her, hit him, he got saved. It was awesome, all right? Now listen, I love Crystal. Here's a picture of Crystal. I think it's coming up right now. Crystal's on the left. I saw her literally last Sunday out at our our Statesboro campus. Grant's sister was her one. And so she continued to look for opportunities to talk with her about God. And let me tell you, today Emily is a believer, and she goes to our church, and so is her brother Grant. But listen, Grant was ready because he had Christian friends in his class and on his football team who were all reaching out to him. And friends, when Elijah came out of that cave in 1 Kings 19, he was thinking about a guy that he thought was ready, and his name was Elisha. That was his one. And man, he was praying for God to open a door for him to talk to this guy about his next spiritual step. And it did not take long before the Lord opened that door. Look at verse 19. There were 12 teams of oxen in the field, and Elisha was plowing with the 12th team. Now think about in a poor nation, nobody would own an ox unless they were doing super well. And nobody would own two unless they were doing crazy well. And if you had 12, wow. Now, if you live in Effingham, any Effinghamers here? Got any Effingham County folks? Woo! If you live in Bullock County, we got any Bullock County folks here? Yeah, baby. If you live in Effingham or Bullock County, you see a lot of tractors. Can I get amen? And sometimes you see cute little tractors, right? And they're parked behind somebody's house. And they use it to cut their grass, and they use it to plow their little garden, and it's just cute. It costs about the same as a little car. It's awesome. But sometimes when you ride around in those counties, you see these big honking tractors that cost as much as two houses. I mean, they cost a $500,000, $750,000, and when you see a tractor like that, you know something about that family. That family got a big farm, and that family's got a lot of money. And when Elijah saw Elisha plowing with 12 yoke of oxen, he knew that brother came from a family that was loaded. I mean, Elisha came from a very wealthy family, big house on the farm, nice house out at the beach, which can be a little intimidating. Sometimes you look at people who got all that stuff and you think, why would they need the Lord? Why would they want to get saved? What can God do for them? And you don't realize that in those big houses, there's a lot of hell sometimes. You don't realize that in those big houses, there's not a lot of love sometimes. And let me tell you, man, Elisha's wealth could have been an intimidation for Elijah because he didn't come from that. He didn't come from that kind of wealth. It might have tempted Elijah to just hesitate on doing what he did next. But let me tell you, Elijah did not hesitate. His love for Elisha was greater than any intimidation he might have felt. So Elijah goes over to him and throws his cloak across his shoulders and then walks away. Now, Elijah was a really famous prophet back in the day. And when he put his cloak over Elisha's shoulders, that was a symbolic way of inviting him to leave that wealthy lifestyle that he was living on Daddy's farm. And man, you come serve the Lord with me. But that would mean that Elisha's going to have to give up a lot. Elisha's going to have to live a much simpler lifestyle if he's going to be a prophet. And so this is a big ask. And Elijah knows it and doesn't care. It's worth it. He makes that ask. And then look how Elisha responds. Elisha left the oxen standing there. He ran after Elijah and said to him, "First, man, let me go and kiss my father and my mother goodbye, and then I'll come and I'll go with you." And Elijah replied, Go, bro. Kiss your mom and dad. Talk to your folks. Go ahead. But I hope you'll think about what I've done for you. I think this is all about Elisha counting the cost of saying yes to God. Man, Elijah is basically saying, sure, bro. I'm not trying to manipulate you. I'm not trying to guilt you in anything. I'm offering you an opportunity to get in step with God's plan for your life. Go home, man. Talk to your mom and dad. See what they think about it. But you think about it. And Elisha does. Now, if he's going to follow God, he's probably going to have to give up a lot to go into ministry with Elijah. He's not going to be working here on the farm every day with his parents anymore. And he's going to miss that. He's not going to be part of the business anymore. And let me tell you, there's a lot of perks that go along with being in a big business like that. So Elijah is asking him to sacrifice a lot. But look at this. Elijah has no problem making that ask because he believes that ministry is the most important thing in the world. Sure, Elisha could laugh or walk away. But dude, if he says yes, God is going to use him to change the world. You know, I heard a guy say one time, never insult a strong person by asking them to do something easy. Any fool can do something easy. But if they're spiritually strong, the harder the task is, the more likely they are to step up. Now, we have a pastor on our team that found Jesus here at our church, and he was a very successful businessman.